Sport Minister Zizi Kodwa on Tuesday announced a new Boxing South Africa board where women outnumber men 4-3. Only one member of the former board, Sakhiwe Sodo, was retained on the new 7-member board, which will take office on the 12th of December. Their term will end in 2026. Last week, the board came under fire from Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Sports, Arts and Culture. It was reported that parliamentarian Tsepo Mhlongo persuaded Kodwa to take firm action against the boxing regulatory body. Now, one man who has been quite vocal about the previous board is Colin Nathan, who is a trainer manager. He joins us now to reflect on these changes. Colin, good evening, and thank you so much for joining us.
Eva Quena, thanks for having me on your platform, and it's great to be talking about the new board and obviously the outgoing board, which obviously I'm very happy about.
Well, let's start right there. I think you and I had a brief chat a couple of weeks back. You were in Japan, if memory serves well, preparing for a fight, but you briefly mentioned your discontent about the board. But what are some of those issues, Colin, that made you uncomfortable about the previous board?
Well, there were several. I think if you look at the two examples alone this year, one was the assessment training given by two gentlemen who were totally out of their depth, and the other was the South African Boxing Awards, which was embellished by the outgoing acting CEO that was, something amazing coming back, and it turned out to be a farce. The biggest issue for me, though, was the fact that tournaments have been cancelled, and particularly two, one in Mooi River, one in Sun City, where fighters went to weigh-in and they were told that the show's off because the fight card was non-compliant. Now, if you look deep into it, the non-compliance is one thing, and that's because Boxing South Africa weren't following the rules. There was no payment done. The Act says, 2001 Act says, 30 days prior, purse monies have to be lodged. It was amended to 14 days. And what happened this year alone on two events, maybe even more, fighters went to the weigh-ins with the trainers and managers only to be told that they couldn't fight, they couldn't weigh in. Fighters have been cutting weights, and they were heartbroken. And I think that's been my biggest issue. This year alone, there have been more cancelled tournaments than ever before in South African boxing history. So, yes, I was very vocal about it. I contacted Mr. Zodwa, Zizi Kodwa, sports minister. I was on several platforms voicing my displeasure at the current board. And I'm glad Mr. Kodwa has listened to the South African boxing public and the licensees and stakeholders, because we were crying for change. And that change starts on the 12th of December of this year.
Did you at any point have a chance to interact with the previous board? And what was their response, if anything, Colin?
Well, I did an interview with the outgoing acting CEO about the implementation of the assessments. And it was actually done in studio with my fellow colleague. And I actually welcomed the initiative of a refresher course, assessment course. And then when I took a look at the system and the exam when I say inverted commas, and who was giving these assessments, I just rolled my eyes and shook my head, because, I went there thinking, maybe I could pick something up, maybe I could learn, I'll never know everything in boxing. And I learned absolutely zilch. It was a total waste of my time. And I only went there because I was told it was compulsory. And that, for me, was pretty much the last time that I actually interacted with the outgoing board. There were several other issues that I obviously wanted to know with regards to payment for Sivanati Nonchenga winning fight of the year. He was awarded 50,000 Rand. We had to wait 3 months for that. We kept following up. There was just, more administrative issues this year alone in South African boxing than I've ever seen in my career, Quena.
You and I, who are long in the tooth in this boxing game, know that there's been a lot of problems previously, board after board. Are you confident that with the changes now that Minister Zizi Kodwa has made a much younger board, for that matter, does that give you a bit of confidence going forward?
It does. Can I put my hand on my heart and say this is definitely going to work? I can't. Time's going to tell. But I definitely think when you use the term young, yes, I think there's some young, fresh faces, hardworking people who really, truly love and are passionate about sports. And I think, I was asked in an interview today, does it matter that some of the board members don't know boxing? And I was like, no. Well, it's simple, Quena. All they've got to do is follow that. Follow the rules and regulations. Don't treat anyone differently. Treat everyone equally, and we'll be successful.
Would you say
they'll be successful?
Yeah, would you say that that is where the big problem is, in that just compliance, just making sure that we follow the rules as they are, the laws as they are, in terms of governance of boxing in South Africa?
Well, that's the biggest problem that we've had, is leadership at the top, right? So, I've been asked a question several times this week, do I think boxing should be privatized? My answer is simple, no. I have no problem with boxing being governed by the Act, but we need the right leadership for it to be governed effectively. The outgoing board favored certain people for certain positions and certain favors, when all the rules should be applied for everyone. For example, there were certain people that were compulsory, it was compulsory for them to attend the assessments. They didn't go, yet they were still allowed to operate, be in the corner, promote, etc., where some of the other people didn't, and they were penalized. Now, that signifies to me favoritism, and also the rules don't apply to everyone. So let the rules apply to everyone. No special favors, not because you're connected to this person, not because you have political power. Just keep it open and fair, and that's all I'm asking for. So to answer your question, all they need to do is just follow the rules of boxing, the Act. Simple.
Just one brief question from my side, Colin, on a personal note. Any of your boxers in action in the near future that you can share with us?
Yes, my last event for the year, 9th of December, here in South Africa, Johannesburg. We've got Boxing 5, headlined by Sequence Nokotoli, world-class junior bantamweight. He's in the top 10 in the IBF. Looking for him to explode for 2024. I've got Josh Feldman having his second fight, 19 years old, young prospect. And of course, I've got Ishmael Kadri, who's 6-0, looking to go 7-0. Featherweight, young, good-looking kid who can really, really fight. And it's going to be a great, great year. And now with this new vigor and this new enthusiasm that we have now with this new incoming board, I think things are going to be nice and rosy for 2024, Quina.
Colin Nathan, thank you so much for coming through to speak to us.